Hello, friends. So, this reading is still from the Christ letters. And this is still in the middle of letter 7. I don't know, maybe I'm getting closer to the end of letter 7 now. This reading will pertain to those of us who have been seeking truth, have been seeking God, have been seeking that connection to divine. So, if you're not interested in this, don't bother watching the video. It won't matter to you. But if you are, then thank you for joining me. So in this reading, it says, if your sincere search and meditation are directed towards the truth of being, and truth of being are bold and capitalized, and not at some earthly religious form or of belief or superficial spurious spirituality or any material objects you believe to possess powers, you will find that gradually your own nature is changing and you begin to be aware of others and their needs as you never did before. You become more empathetic, understanding, caring, compassionate, and gentle. In fact, the soul qualities of divine life now begin to control your natural ego impulses for satisfaction and self-defense. I want to warn you that you will have now entered a new and difficult time, an era of conflict between the ego drive, which has habitually insisted on fulfilling its wants, perhaps at the expense of other people, and the psyche soul, which is beginning to realize that love is the law, and the rights of other people have to be balanced equally with the rights of self, the ego. As the psyche absorbs more and more of the soul, divine reality, into its consciousness, the old ego drive begins to release its grasp, and the inner daily conflict becomes even more intense. The psyche soul, now working through mind and heart, discovers it is balancing the needs of other people against the validity of its own needs, and it becomes weighed down and weary of the endless internal struggle of self-questioning and self-judgment. When the psyche is reaching this point of perception, it indicates that the pull of the human consciousness is thinning to such an extent that the soul is now drawing close to and becoming reunified with the divine reality. The soul acknowledges through the medium of the psyche that it loves the divine love that is the divine reality more than it loves anything earthly, and longs to be fully united with its source of being. The psyche finally surrenders, the ego consciousness drives to divine reality and begs that it may be enabled to yield the ego, to go through the death of the selfhood. This happens when people are truly reaching the apex of their spiritual life, and they usually need a spiritual master to guide them through it. The death of the selfhood should never be undertaken as a means of achieving greater spiritual insight. It is highly dangerous and will not succeed in achieving greater spiritual or earthly life. It will be greatly destructive to the psyche and ego before due time. It will hinder the whole process of soul, psyche, ego, physical development. No one should entertain such a thought in order to be more advanced in spiritual perception and truth. Such an act of willpower will be self-defeating, since it is born entirely of the ego drive to be more important spiritually. When this experience of ego mastery takes place at the right time, in the right way, the soul through the medium of the psyche is free, to a large extent, to commune directly with the divine reality, since the continual chatter of the ego consciousness is stilled. The pull of the earth is no longer paramount. Self-centered ambitions fade. The desire for personal possessions dissolves. Peace reigns in the mind. The soul, now speaking clearly through the psyche, longs to uplift, nourish, contribute to the growth of other souls, educate, uplift, and nurture with understanding and tenderness without any desire for recompense or self-aggrandizement. As the soul is drawn into ever closer contact and attunement with divine reality, Its only earthly goal is to treat the neighbor or other people with the same kind of concern and consideration it needs for itself to flourish. And be content. Giving becomes as easy as breathing. Eventually, it becomes a privilege to work for and with other people for the promotion of their highest good. This is divine love in action. However, there is no sentiment in divine reality. The intention behind individualization was to enable divine reality itself to experience its own nature of creativity, joy, and personal fulfillment. Therefore, when I was on earth, I drew the lines between giving and receiving quite clearly when I said, "Do unto others what you would have them do to you." This statement was a loving warning that as you sow, so will you reap. It was also a guideline to behavior. If you do unto others what you would like done to yourself, then you can be sure that you are acting only from the standpoint of love. If other people do not want what you would like done for you, then you live by trial and error. You have taken a positive step towards fulfilling an act of true love, and if it is rejected, you have given yourself an opportunity to find out what would be more greatly appreciated in the future. In this way, do you grow in the act of love. I also said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. This meant that you should have equal concern for your neighbor's comfort as you have for your own. It also means that whatever you wish unto other people, you would be happy to have wished on yourself in like manner. It means that you must think the thoughts about others which you would be happy for them to think about you. It means that your entire consciousness should be directed at caring concern for others, no matter what they may be doing hurtful against yourself. All human beings are living in a jungle of human desires, goals, frailties, disappointments, anger, and frustration. Out of the war-torn consciousness come many weak and ill-judged responses and actions. I'm going to stop here for now. In this reading, I'm starting to feel quite a pull toward the teachings of A Course in Miracles when it's speaking of the judgment response and how people react. And A Course in Miracles teaches that everything is either an act of love or a call for love. So we only ever have two choices in the world, love or fear. So you either align yourself with love, which is divine, which is God, Christ, however you want to see it, or you choose against it. And the path against it is one of fear. If you look at our world, if you look at why we get angry, if you look at why we kill each other, it all stems from fear. And fear can only be present when there is a lack of love. Now, we can get into many discussions on that matter because I am still of the mind that we have the divine right to defend ourselves, those we love, from harm. There is a line, though, where if someone is using words against you, though it may not be nice and though it may be hurtful, the truth of the matter is when it comes to words, if I know myself as a divine child of God, if I know myself as the beautiful divine creation that is perfect, there is nothing anyone can say about me or to me that would affect me in such a way that I would want to do them harm, because I know myself as not that which they are stating I am. So, thank you, and that's another thing that just came to me, and it's something that I have read, and I just was reminded that Truth needs no defense. And so if someone calls me a name, if someone says something derogatory about me, if I know myself, truly know myself, I don't need to defend against it, because I know that it's not right. It's not correct. And it is their error. And they're allowed to have that error. They are allowed to believe or think anything they want. And that's what this is talking about, is respecting and honoring someone else's choices. But I still firmly believe in the do no harm. So there are many things in our world that we still need to work out. We need to communicate with each other. We need to be able to have enough compassion and empathy and care to hear as much as we speak, to hear the needs of someone else. So I'm going to leave you with that today. There are things here that I need to look at. I do love my magic rocks, so I do like crystals and things like that, and I really felt that that was mentioned in here with the objects you believe possess power, because all things being energy, all things have an energetic signature, and those energetic signatures do affect our energies. Yes, it is true. So I'm going to take that into consideration and contemplation today, and I hope that you have enjoyed this reading, and may you be blessed.